Okay, we're all set.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the June 15th of the Reac meeting to order. Start with the roll call.
Peg Zuggy.
Here.
Tim Riley.
Yeah.
Howard Hellman.
Here.
All right. We have no action items. We have no new business. We have no old business. But we do have a treasurer's report, and just as a simple observation, it's pretty much our typical monthly cost to our compliance firm that has, was wrapping up our annual compliance reports, and also for our monthly bookkeeper. And those are the only costs associated with the Reac this month.
Okay. Any comments on the financial report? Hearing none, we can entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make it.
Seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Okay, want me to read the minutes? I know, it's over and all this.
Okay.
Call to order 11:30, no action items, no new business, no old business. The board can review the treasurer's report. Motion by Tim Riley, seconded by Peg Zugby to accept the financial report. All in favor? That's it.
Okay, motion to adjourn. Peggy, seconded by Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Raj, how are you?
Okay.
Should we go back and open up with sandbox?
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, I guess we can.
We'll call the IDA meeting for June 15th to order. Roll call.
Peg Zugby.
Here.
Raj Mar.
Here.
Tim Riley.
Yeah.
Howard Hellman.
Here.
Okay.
First order of business is I would like somebody to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss a legal matter.
I'll second.
Okay, executive session.
all meeting.
All right, 11:57.
You'll find me, I didn't do it.
Okay, again, forgive me if I seem like I'm moving things along. Are we okay with everything?
Yep, we're now live.
Okay.
And
Um,
open the door.
I'd like to have the board just quickly considering authorizing resolution for Chartwell Hemlock. This is the assumption of the pilot.
I have to recuse myself.
Raj just announced that you have a conflict in your,
I have a conflict and I have to recuse myself.
yes.
Thank you.
Go have lunch.
Let me just thank you. You'll be surprised what you have in there.
See what's in there.
Okay, we had a public hearing. There was no public comment. Heidi conducts our public hearings. I guess you can say that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll leave it to you if you want to, see if anybody wants to make a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Charlie, have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Peg Zugby,
Yes.
Tim Riley.
Yes.
Howard Hellman.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Raj,
Yeah,
you come back now.
that's great. Thank you, guys.
Okay, the next matter is considering Nanuet redevelopment project. They had submitted an application, as we talked about. In fact, I guess, I think you wanted it to gentlemen.
Yeah.
They had submitted an application. We'd asked them, told them that we had tabled it for a couple meetings. And that we've asked them to come back. Hi, did you know everybody from
Yes,
previous
good
meetings? Thank
afternoon.
you for joining us. So they're coming back, just so you are aware, the board has taken the position that it will entertain housing projects that are requesting, a pilot. And the board is in agreement that they will entertain projects in that regard. And from a process standpoint, they will consider an inducement. If the inducement is approved, at that point, we will tell the applicant, any applicant involving market rate housing, to go forth and negotiate your pilots with the involved taxing entities. And once those are in place, come back to us. The board in turn, at that point, we will, say, okay, you've got the makings of a deal here, and once informally agree to it, we'll have our public hearing, we'll do our authorizing resolution, and presuming that's all approved, at that point, then a pilot would be papered and circulated to all the taxing entities. So that's the process that the board is, I think I can say is. Right?
That's correct.
So now with that said, it kind of opens the door to now consider your project. And as everyone knows, I'm going to give a simple overview. As you all know, we had a prior meeting about this. This is the transit-oriented development project in Nanuet, a train station. There's already been some discussion about that, and they are seeking the ability to negotiate a pilot with the town of Clarkstown and the school district. So with that said, is there any questions?
The 252 units are all rentals, no condo complex?
That's correct.
Is there any carve out at all for volunteer firemen, etc., volunteer ambulance corps, people like that?
Within the building, we've set aside some space, that's outlined in the application for municipal use.
But no apartments?
No apartments, but in the, some of these apartments are affordable. And when we go through that process, there may be a designation for a local preference. And what that means is if you are a local teacher, fireman, any type of employee, you'd be given preference on availability of the apartments.
When you say there's been a carve out for affordable housing, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Could you define that? Is that federal money coming in, or is it just?
No, what I mean by a carve out is simply all 252 apartments will not be market rate. We have a small percentage within the 252 that are going to be carved out and set aside as affordable housing.
What do you know what percentage it is?
Yes. Let me just look at the application real quick. I believe it's 5%, and I think that came to 13 units.
Also,
And the affordable threshold that you're using, because that word affordable has a wide definition.
Correct.
So percentage of income are you using, do you know?
Offhand, I don't know, but it would just be in accordance with the Rockland County income for that particular year. So there's standards that are made by affordable housing depending on the geographic location, and we would follow those accordingly.
The market value rentals, how much are they, do you know?
Yes, it depends. It depends on what type of unit you'd be looking for, but a typical market rate, one bedroom, maybe in the range of $2,500 to $3,000 a month, depending on the square footage, if it has one bedroom with an office or something along those lines. Yeah, so 5%, 13 co-units out of the 252.
Good questions, Tim. Any other questions from the board? All right, we can entertain the motion on the resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Tim, second. Second by Raj. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Okay, Peg Zugby,
Yes.
Tim Riley,
Yes.
Raj Amar,
Yes.
Howard Hellman.
Yes.
Okay. You've been induced. So that process I talked about is now it's underway. What will happen is there'll be an inducement resolution that we will forward to you that, we'll sign, county executive signs, we'll have you sign. But in the interim, I do know you're already engaged with the municipalities, as far as discussion. So I would say, keep us abreast of that. Also, we are willing to be active participants in those negotiations, discussions, even though we don't advocate for or against. Sometimes our role of facilitating and kind of being the voice of objectivity, for lack of a better word, can help, get through rough spots or, keep everybody kind of on focus. But we're also happy to not be involved at all. So we'll leave that up to your discretion. But if there comes a time where then you say to us, okay, town's on board, here's the deal, school district's on board, here's the deal. At that point, then we'll have our public hearing. It'll be actually in this room, and then we'll consider authorizing.
Terrific. Understood.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you, Mr.
Thank you for
Thank you, ladies and
waiting, I know.
Terrific.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, before I forget, I wanted to show you something the first time it gets away from you. We had talked about doing something to remember Eric, and I wanted to pass this around. I guess we could start that way. This is a plaque that we're going to put up outside the door. Give Heidi credit. She was instrumental in its design and wording and working with the company that provided it.
You're missing one thing, a cigar.
At least got smoke with
You probably smoked it.
Very, very nice.
And what we're planning is, and Howard's been in contact with Debbie Dranoff. She will be coming back up to this area to be with her daughter, I think specifically, in the fall. And we were going to wait till then, and then we were going to have a ceremony, details to be determined. We, obviously, we'll invite everybody to come.
Did she move to Florida?
They had moved to Florida. They lived on a place just inland from Sanibel Island on the mainland. And they'd owned that for a while, but they had relocated down there. And unfortunately, tragedy struck. But she's going to be coming back up here. And she wants to be near her children. Again, Howard, you're more contact.
Yep, that's pretty accurate, yes.
But wanted everybody to see that.
That's nice.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. It was a pleasure.
Now with Heidi, I'm going to ask Heidi to give a kind of an update on the small business development program. So
Yeah, so I'm happy to announce that program has really started taking shape and sort of gelling over the last couple weeks after doing a lot of networking and listening to businesses and chambers. So we really wanted to just give an update on what a program might look like and who we were thinking of partnering with to get that up and running. I do have a handout that I will give you all, but first I'm going to make you listen to me so that you're not reading it while we're talking.
that was on my direction.
Yeah. But it has much more detail, but I'll just give a brief overview. So the vision is really to create a small business program that is sought out in the community, like that small businesses hear about, people want to be a part of as a real valuable resource for small businesses. So that would look like offering a series of classes, both virtually and in person, with respect to the time of the small business owner. That would include subjects such as marketing research, branding, creating a logo if needed, website setup, finding resources for funding, and the benefits of different business models. And so we would really like for the participants to leave the program not only with personalized tools to implement in their business, but also the knowledge to grow those tools on their own independently after the program. We have to select candidates for the program, we are looking at partnering with the local chambers of commerce. We've already connected with 5 of the chambers. There's 8 total. They're all very receptive and excited about the program. But we would leave it in their hands to select the participants. We think that does 2 things. One, if a local small business has already gone through the effort of establishing a relationship with their chamber, it kind of speaks well to their ability to participate in a valuable way in the class. It also allows us to, as we grow down the line, be able to focus on economically distressed areas and work specifically with those chambers of commerce in a more intimate way. And so we just thought that this was a good jumping off point. It's easy to manage. It's a small group setting. We would be partnering with experts in their fields to actually conduct the classes. So we wouldn't be the ones making the curriculum. We would just be implementing the program. It's easy to track input and the impact that the program is having on the community, because we can track how many of our small businesses that we work with remain open for 3 to 5 years, which is really the goal. Once they are over that hump, they have a much more rate of success. And it's also cost effective. So we're thinking the cost of the program would be about $7,000 per session to run. So to bring 8 small businesses, 1 from each chamber, through this program entirely, which would consist of about 10 to 12 personalized sessions, the total cost for that would be $7,000. And our hope would be to run the first program in the fall. So I will give these out, which has a lot more details about who we were. There's a great, I've met with him a few times. He owns Tom Osa, who runs.
You know Tom?
Yeah.
He's long.
Sounds like he has, no, go ahead. He has a lot of
very
connections.
long and uninterrupted history of working with the community. He's very involved. So we know him, we're comfortable with him.
Yeah.
And if I could chime in on a couple of other points here. You know, the challenge with the small business program is there's so many of them. It's like, how do you do something that, you know, that is effective? We said, let's start somewhere. And the beauty of this is, our concern was always is we don't want to be the ones identifying which businesses we choose to help. So by having the chambers say, let them vet it out internally, and then say, okay, you know, this shop owner or this independent, whatever, is our representative for this series of programs. And it gets us engaged at the most local level. These chambers are plugged in. And now this gets us engaged directly. So it hits a number of buttons that we were concerned about. Cost-wise, it's nothing, and like I said, we can grow it, but this gets us in the game. So I guess today, Heidi, I think, are we looking for the board to kind of give this blessing to us to go ahead and move forward?
Yeah, like, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and also just to make sure that we're all happy with the direction that this is taking, and you know, are on board with moving forward in this way. You know, do we have the board's blessing on that?
So this program being $10,000, how long is the program for that particular?
So we're thinking they would meet weekly, either in person or, for time reasons, virtually, if that works better for the business owners. So over a 10 to 12 week period in the fall. So if it started in September, hopefully wrapping up right before the holidays.
So it's approximately $1,000 a week.
Yes.
Originally, Heidi, we talked about something with RCC. Are you doing this on your own now?
Doing what? Oh, the scholarship program?
No, yeah, this whole program.
Mhm.
Who, you were saying we before, who was the we?
I think I was
Okay, great.
Like
No, no,
we.
all right. 'Cause no, originally we talked
My
about
partner in
something.
crime.
It's a royal we.
Yeah.
And we, you know, the first, a couple of months ago when we talked about it, you were talking about RCC, so this has nothing to do with RCC.
That's separate.
Yeah, that's
Good.
separate.
I'm not good, but okay.
Yeah.
And so what you're proposing is that for a price tag of about $7,000, we contract with Tom O'Say. Is he getting the $7,000?
So yes, we would be buying blocks of time from him where he meets with the individuals. And that, the total cost for running 7 to 8 people through the program would be about $7,000. I put $7,000 to $10,000 because I'm sure there will be some unforeseen costs the first time we run this program that we didn't think of.
Okay, explain this to me again. So why are we giving Tom 7,000?
So we're hiring out because well, a couple of reasons, because well, two things, and I'm glad you asked that question. We're not really, we don't have the resources, or quite frankly, the expertise to do small business training.
Right.
So we're gonna outsource it to a vendor. She's vetted out various entities, and Tom seems to be a good entity where he will conduct and oversee a program. With that said, we're not just saying, here's check, Tom, let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
But he's gonna oversee the program, so he's gonna pay.
He's going to do it. He's going to bring in certain experts on certain topics. He's going to be the expert on certain topics like website development and branding. He'll bring a finance guy in to discuss why it's important to have, banking relationships. Here's a lawyer that he has a relationship with. He's going to talk about, do you want to be an LLC, an S Corp, or, so he's going to manage the day-to-day of it. Heidi is going to be very hands-on along the whole way, making sure that this is doing what we want. We're not just writing a check and saying, let us know how it turns out.
And it's not just information, like part of that will be, the businesses will walk away with a tangible logo, with a business plan, with like they're receiving things for our money, paying for those
And who's
services.
verifying that? You will?
Yes.
But I think the most important thing, if we go ahead with this, is when it's all said and done, that Heidi reaches out to the applicants and gets a lot of feedback. Like,
100%.
hey, did this work? That type of thing.
We
Yeah.
had talked, just as an example, Heidi had proposed this, and I said, gee, okay, 8 people, my first guy, gee, maybe we should do something where we have 200 people in a room. And then we realized, how do you measure that? So I kind of said, I was wrong, and I like this better now. My thinking was, okay, you're right. We have 200 people in a room. Who knows what happens? It goes, poof, it's gone. These people, we can say, okay, these 8 people for this, let's call it a pilot program. Did it make a difference? Are they around in a year? That, we can kind of measure the value, then we can grow it. We can always grow, but this gets us in the game.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's also good that we're not picking the applicants, I'm
Oh, yeah.
calling them applicants.
Yeah.
We're saying it's not us who dictated who, well, why'd you get this guy and that guy?
Yeah, we do
Yeah,
not want to
right.
be involved in that game.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
To Tim's point, I thought I might be wrong that at the last meeting or two, we talked more about doing a program where we would help pay businesses if they hired interns. from
So that's
different
our
colleges.
scholarship program, which is separate from
That's
this.
totally different.
That's totally
Obviously
different. So that's it. And that's in the works as well.
So we're looking to do both.
We are
Yes.
looking to do both.
And you're kind of in, I think RCC is a little bit like most colleges, a little hiatus right now. So the people
Yes.
she's working with to develop that are kind of have taken a break.
There you go.
So, I mean, they'll be back. Most of them are year round.
Yeah,
Speaking,
it's,
speaking of interns, just a little sidebar, did you contact North Rockland about getting an intern?
I haven't yet. I'm going to. Let me tell
Because I
people
know,
what.
I know they're looking for people, they're looking
All
for
right.
folks.
Howard
The
asked if,
School of,
Academy of Finance.
Academy of Finance.
Yeah, and Peg, okay, in fact, I was gonna call Peg. So, sorry, I've been a little, we want to grab somebody from Academy of Finance, see if they can give us an intern that will pay a minimum wage and have them come in and keep them busy. If it's, the concern is, are we too late in the game for this summer?
Probably not.
No, I know, because we deal with them, and I just heard yesterday that a couple of
Yeah,
the
we're
companies
always-
that
they're
were
always
gonna
looking.
take some interns aren't gonna take them anymore, so there are some.
Yeah, I'll make sure.
We had interns once at Meal. We got them from BOCES. And my problem with it is just food for thought. They were there for 1 day a week for like 10 weeks. After 2 or 3 weeks, they ended up going in the back of the shop and sorting material, which is like, I got annoyed because it's like, no, here's my point. To me, the best thing with these interns is if they send them into Albright Electric, they're only there maybe a couple of times, because that employee that he has that's gonna mentor that kid is only gonna do it so far, and then they gotta get back to work. So to me, it was always good, we brought in people in electrical training. We brought them in, show them the place, show them how things work. And I'm not saying that's it, but you gotta be careful because they fall into, okay, what do we do now? And then they give them a remedial job, go get coffee. That's not,
Well, I think it's how you approach it. I think
Yeah,
it's a
you gotta be
different
careful.
now.
Yeah.
Because I know like with the Academy of Finance, they had them, well, depends on who you place them with,
Right.
people, you can't have them doing busy work or they have them doing
I
taxes.
can assure you, yeah, we
Yeah.
have plenty of substantive stuff they can do.
Right.
Yeah, they're not gonna be getting coffee or
Yeah,
observing.
you gotta be-
all the
you gotta be-
time.
yeah.
You
And the guy who ran the
They had
shop,
them doing taxes for senior citizens,
No,
they
I
had
like-
them doing,
I like to have interns, I've dealt with them before. We had an interns at REDC many years ago. You gave them almost like responsibility that this is your job. This is what you're in charge of. It's not every day, what do you need me to do today? Here's where you come in and this is what you're doing.
It's just like when, if you take a student teacher, it's how you approach it it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
As,
Really
as the
is.
person who takes the person, there were people who looked at it as, this is my time to have a coffee break.
Yeah.
Okay, but you have to now take that student teacher, tell them everything about every kid, and then you have to mentor the person, and you have to tell them what to do, and and it takes it's a lot of work on the person who takes that person. So if you're gonna look at it as, this is my time to go and have a coffee break and put your feet up and everything, yeah, you did nothing for the kid.
Yeah.
And they get nothing at the end of that time, so you have to place them with the right person. And then at the end of that time, that kid comes out, you have to tell them how to do a lesson plan, you have to, and at the end of the time, the kid has it. So it's the same thing if you place them with one of your better guys, that kid comes out knowing how to wire and how to do things, and that they're not in the back filing and doing things. It's just a matter of,
it's the
it's
truth.
who you place them with.
So I think we're gonna lose you in a minute, right? Do you still have to leave? Okay, so,
Oh,
so I guess the point is, are we good?
Do we want
Can we
to,
move forward with Heidi's?
I
you want a
think it's-
motion to
Yeah.
allow Heidi to spend the seven
Yes,
to slash
I'll-
10,000? I'll make that motion.
I'll say.
Thank you.
Tim, okay, Peg Zugby.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Everybody's in favor, okay.
Hey, we wanted to do something, let's see what happens. Put our toe in the water.
You have to.
I think their idea was a good one, Heidi. Maybe at the end of the thing, you have a survey.
Oh, well, definitely.
Yeah, that's
And they
it.
know
Yeah,
requirements
no.
that they fill it out,
Yeah.
and get the
And you have
feedback,
to,
you know?
yeah.
Oh,
and you have to-
100%. Yeah,
That's-
no,
And
that's
you
I
have
gonna
to
be key.
follow it up to see how
Yes,
they
it
did.
Yeah.
also which entity does a better job, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, no, we're not locked into anything. This is strictly a jumping off
Howard,
point,
I'm
and
getting some
gathering all
voices
that
to talk
information will
about.
certainly be
Go in my
part
office.
of
Can
it.
you Continue
Baby
the
steps.
discussion. I think
And
what
the
we wanna do is
classes, the
forget
legal
these
class,
things. We already
the
talked about
the
animals,
resource
so
class, the funding
if you
class,
wanna
that
go into
actually
executive
is
session and
in-house,
talk
not
about
taught by
something
me, but we will be picking the people who do
Yeah.
that, so it's not all Tom. And I will be, we all will be approving
No,
his
okay.
curriculum, like,
And we
it's
can,
not part
maybe do
one.
the financials. when you want.
And then you have
But
to
don't-
follow
don't-
it up to see who's still in business.
Well, Right, but
Okay,
that kind of
now,
makes
how
it
they-
very
I'll be
easily
too
trackable, because we know what that statistic is without
Right.
our program.
Right.
And I think those numbers are gonna be higher anyway, because we're picking people who are involved in their chamber, which I think gives them a leg up. Like, if a small business has gone through the effort of establishing that relationship, they're probably in a better chance anyway, which I think will look good for our numbers as well.
Okay, let's move along, because Raj has to leave.
Oh,
so I
yeah,
want to be
sorry.
respectful of him. The Loki Grill matter, just since we're on the record,
Yeah.
but we talked about it off the record, so you just wanted to give us a report, you know.
Can you send this to us at the soft copy of this stuff?
Absolutely, sure.
Thank you.
I'll report.
Okay,
You know, 'cause I don't go where.
okay. Old business, the pilot schedule, we'll wait for Steve to get back, or we can table that till next month.
We have pilots?
Executive session, I don't think we have to go into that at this point. Treasurer's report. Tim?
Everything is on paperwork you have, it's a general, same expenses is just about every month. The only other thing, I don't know where we are, maybe Heidi does. Did we move the money into the CDs as we spoke of and kind of,
I don't know if the SD,
Okay.
I don't know if that,
That's
I don't
really
know
it.
where that stands.
which we already, it's just a formality, so.
Motion to accept the financial report.
We have to ask them about that. About the
No,
CDs.
but theoretically,
No,
And
this
they're
is
not
for
in
the
the-
paper.
it's not in this report.
Okay.
Raj motions, Peg seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay. Just before we close the meeting, I have just two things. One, we had talked about our logo. Speaking of logos, when we were up at the conference, they had this scrolling screen of all the different IDAs around the state and the different logos, and I kind of said tongue in cheek, we ought to change our logo. After seeing it like 5,000 times, scrolling. So Heidi's gonna be working with somebody at OC's. Who's
Yes,
going to.
they have a program where they've done this for other companies, where students,
Yeah.
have a contest and make logos and then we can pick, which I think is a fun idea. And I'm happy to do it because our logo now is so old that the resolution is not quite up to things that we need to do. So we really do need to update it anyway. I think it's a great plan.
Okay, and the only other thing I had when I spoke to Steve, all of us get via email all of the reports that are gonna be discussed at the next meeting. And I don't know how thoroughly we all read them when we get them, but in fairness, let's say we do read them thoroughly, by the time we get to the meeting, we might have forgotten some of the information contained therein. So I said, let's put together those, let's get those binders that we used to have, and they become very clumsy. It's a big expense printing all the reports over and over. So I said, why don't we get laptops for everyone? So each of the board members and whomever will have a laptop, and then we can pull up any information that we want relative to the discussion that's before us on the agenda. And probably we can get the laptops for, I'm gonna say, certainly well under $1,000 each. So
Who wants a laptop?
Hmm?
Who wants a laptop?
the whole board's gonna get one.
And you'll leave it here.
Yeah, it's for here. You don't get to take it home. It's probably the idea.
Just let me know, please.
Okay.
I came across a laptop yesterday for $800.
Yeah.
What's that? No, we already talked about it.
Okay, that was what I thought.
Yep.
Do we, what about, what do I have at home? You were talking about it outside.
A Chromebook.
A Chromebook, will that work? Because those are a couple of $100. And if we're only gonna use it for here,
So and we'll have to talk to our IT guy because you guys would have to be on the network and have access to the documents here.
Right.
And then is everyone comfortable like going in and finding those documents and pulling them up and scrolling through?
Microsoft, is it?
I don't know.
Google.
Well, if everybody likes the concept.
Yeah, we'll figure it
whatever,
out.
yeah, it's, go
It's
ahead.
almost,
Yeah.
I hate to use it,
Figure
it's
out a
almost
way
like you're
to
gonna
do
have a
it.
dumb monitor in front of you at the meeting where you can open up the document you want to take a look at and screw.
Well, then you don't need Microsoft, you just need, then the Chromebook may work.
Yeah,
Right.
It's probably so simple that we're not used to dealing with it, you know,
Right.
because
We have
technology is
a-
so far advanced in what our
Yeah.
purposes are.
I have a Chromebook at home, you know what, it's one use. I'm on the licensing board, and I can get on the Rockland, I have a Rockland County, email, thank you. That's the only place I can get it, because if I try to get it on my Apple, it goes crazy. I went out and bought a Chromebook for like $110, so that I could read my emails.
Okay. So if everybody's good with the idea, then we'll further and
Yeah.
setting all these papers, we'll go to the next generation.
Okay, did you happen to do the financials when?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
good.
would improve
We have
it.
one question. Did we move into the CDs yet?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
We will. I have, being away,
Okay.
and everything happened, but that's our to do. And that's an easy thing. We'll just shop out that and do that.
Okay.
With that said, I think
Okay, we can, motion to adjourn the meeting. Making motion.
I gotta read the minutes quick,
Oh,
so.
I was
All right, sorry. Call to order, went to executive session, discuss legal matters, action items, the board consider an authorizing resolution for Chartwell. Board member Roger Marr recused himself due to a conflict. Motion to accept was made by, let's see. Tim Riley, seconded by Peg Zugby, all in favor. Manual redevelopment, board discussed the matter. This was a continued discussion from earlier meetings. A motion to induce the project was made by Tim Riley, seconded by Raj Amar, all in favor. Heidi Van Diver provided an overview of the Small Business Development Program. The board took a motion to authorize that between $7,000 to $10,000 be allocated to launch this pilot program as far as the small businesses. Motion, the board then discussed financials, accepted the financial report, and finally the board authorized the executive director to go ahead and do homework on finding laptops for board members that can be used during the course of meetings. That's it.
10 days.
All right, you can turn it, adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
It was 60.
Okay.
Okay.